Hi everyone! In this video we will go through the quadratic formula. Solve d times the quantity of 3d plus 6, close parenthesis, minus 4 equals 0. Where we have this d inside the parentheses and on the outside, let's go ahead and do the distributive into the parentheses. And so let's go d times 3d, which gives us 3d squared, and then d times positive 6 is plus 6d. Then subtract 4 equals 0. Now we have a quadratic equation and we can go ahead and solve it. Unfortunately for us, this one doesn't factor very nicely, so we're going to use something called the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. The a, b, and c come from the quadratic equation going in descending order. Descending meaning that it goes from the squared to the not squared to the term without the variable. So in this case, this first one is the coefficient in front of the variable squared is a. The coefficient in front of the variable without the square, just the variable, is b. And the coefficient or the term without the variable is c. And then we just plug that all into our formula. So we get x equals negative and put parentheses around where the b is. So we put a 6 here, so we're substituting the 6 in, plus or minus the square root. And again, we put parentheses around the b, and this is 6 squared minus 4, and we'll put parentheses around the a and the c. This just helps make sure that we don't miss any negatives, and so just make sure that you get those parentheses. A is 3 and c is negative 4, and this is all over 2 times a, which is also 3. At this point, some of you may have already seen that the inside the radical came from the discriminant, or the discriminant came from the quadratic formula inside the radical. All right, now let's go ahead and we can calculate this all out. A negative times 6 is negative 6, plus or minus the square root of 6 squared is 36. 4 times 3 is 12, so we'll have minus 12, and we still have times the negative 4. We'll go ahead and do that next. Over 2 times 3, which is 6. Now a negative 12 times a negative 4 is a positive 48, so we have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 plus 48 all over 6. Adding underneath the radical, 36 plus 48 in my calculator is 84, so I have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 84 over 6. Now we just need to simplify the radical. To do that, we'll see if 84 is divisible by any perfect squares. 84 is 4 times 21, so we can replace that, and I'm going to come over here for some more room. So we have negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 4 times the square root of 21, all over 6. Because 4 is a perfect square, the square root of 4 evaluates to 2, which gives us negative 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 21 all over 6. 21 doesn't have any perfect squares, so it's still under the radical. We can continue simplifying this by putting both numerators over the denominator, giving us negative 6 over 6 plus or minus the 2 square root of 21 over 6. 6 divided by 6 cancels to be 1, so we get negative 1 plus or minus 2 over 6, dividing those both by 2, gives us 1 times the square root of 21, which is just the square root of 21, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we end up with negative 1 plus the square root of 21 over 3, and negative 1 minus the square root of 21 over 3. And we have our two answers for the quadratic formula, and we're all done.